What's up?
What up?
Hey. Happy Tuesday.
Let's start off with telling Big Willie thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate it. We do have some members-only videos that were just recently put up, so you should go and watch those. One of them is called Bobby and the Hair, and it is a saga of Bobby realizing that my hair is fake, like 5 episodes in, and then I show evidence from the 4 previous episodes where he stared at me in my face as I took off my fake hair.
Think about your least favorite OnlyFans that you subscribe to, and then go not subscribe to them and sign up for that.
Yeah. And listen, it's only 99
do whatever you want
cents
with those videos, as far as you know what I mean.
It's only 99 cents a month, you guys, to have fun with those things. I also did, back in the day, we used to actually pre-record Bobby's Cryptid Corner. It didn't used to be live. And so I did put some of the pre-recordings where we used to sit around and fuck around and say random shit is in some riveting
content.
Not all of it, but a little bit. Some of it low-key is kind of funny. We're actually kind of hilarious.
I always think we're funnier when we're not live for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because we're only paying attention to each other and not the chat too, which everyone knows eventually I would like to kind of go more and the let's focus more. But man, we just say dumb shit sometimes, I feel like, but then we're really good at playing off of each other. So
can I just ask, we got Spooky in the chat. Which Spooky is that, do you think?
This is our Spooky.
This Kari.
Okay.
Spooky Morales is the other Spooky that's on the other show.
Okay.
That's our Spooky, though.
Tuesday. That's hilarious.
That.
Well, thanks, everybody, for coming on by. We are going to do another Rhode Island kind of focused show today, but it's really just the entire state of Rhode Island. And this will be a 2-part episode.
14 minutes.
No, it will not.
Not because there's not plenty of things to talk about. It's just because it's the size of my backyard.
It's the smallest state.
Tiny.
You could fit 444 of them inside of Alaska or some shit like that.
I really want to go. I feel like you could just drive edge to edge in an hour.
Correct.
Yeah.
North and south, actually.
Yes.
And I will say what's very interesting about this state is 59% forest, but it's considered an ocean state. So it makes for a very interesting mix of cryptids we're going to get here, because it's you get those beachy ocean ones and the forest ones all in one very small, tiny area.
I'll say this much. They were doing a thing on finding Bigfoot several years ago. I want to say around season 3 or 4. They started getting into the more non-cryptidy states that you wouldn't think of. And then I'm like, what the fuck are they going to do with Rhode Island? And it's one of the better episodes, if memory serves.
No, it is, because it has a lot of weird random shit going on there. But I think what part of it that kind of leads into that is the fact that you have a high density of a population and it's really small. So of course there's going to be lots of cryptids because you have this small area with tons of people talking about stuff all the time, and it's confined to that small area. So I feel like a lot more stories get uplifted because of that.
And then a lot more, and then I guess to scale, there's a lot of not rural, but less there's thick forests through that state.
Oh yeah,
it's not completely settled. So it is accommodating to cryptids if you want it to be, I think. Even though it's very, very small.
So I think we should tell everybody
our drinking word of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how small it was.
That's what I say a lot. Our drinking word of the day is island.
Island boy.
People are still referencing that.
Yeah, 100%.
Just island. Just island, I thought. It's just island. Oh,
island. So if you say Rhode Island, then you've
said it, exactly.
While we're on the topic, I have to confess, I found this out right before we went live.
Okay, tell us.
This is the last of my vodka and Diet Mountain Dew. And then I bought a 6-pack about 45 minutes ago at the local 7-Eleven. I thought this was Heineken, low-cal Heineken. Nope, it's 0 alcohol Heineken. And it's
why are they always trying to do that?
They probably didn't even ID you. You didn't pay attention.
Why are we selling? Why is this even okay?
Yeah,
if
no,
you're trying
seriously.
to quit drinking, you can't just like you
Have
can't
drink
ream off of it
flavored.
with the taste of beer.
Mhm.
Because all it's
Not
gonna
the
do,
taste. Yeah.
it's like when you buy fake weed out of the back of High Times back in like 1999.
It's never
Like
the same.
you're like, all I want to do is smoke real weed now. So
Mhm.
so I'm very disappointed in
Hi,
myself.
Chatty Poo. Yeah, man, that sucks. I hope you have a backup. I really do.
Yeah.
I got 5 more of these bad motherfuckers right here.
Woo!
Yikes.
Well, if anything,
I'm gonna see if I can get a buzz if I drink all 6 of
means
them.
you can drive us all home.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I got other drugs. Hold on.
That's
I'm gonna
the,
turn my camera off for a second.
that's
Okay.
the drink for the DD.
Exactly. All right, Bree, why don't you bring
I
up
guess I
your
should stick
slide
with
and
one more than the other.
let's start to jump into this topic because there's a lot to cover going on here.
Yeah, so the first colony there in the Rhode Island began its formation in 1636.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And up until 2020, November 2020, it hadn't narrowed down the state name of Rhode Island drink. It was this entire sentence here: the state of Rhode Island and Providence plantations, making it the longest ever word-wise for a state in the smallest state. It was like
Yes.
they're trying to overcompensate for something.
Right. It's like when you have your truck Carolina squatted.
Yeah, or you walk around with a boa constrictor around your neck,
Yeah.
I always, and people who have yellow vehicles.
or yellow boa constrictors.
Yes.
I just always think of really lifted trucks. I'm sorry, guys.
I
Or
want to look at
anybody,
trucks so bad for multiple reasons.
or anybody who drives a Corvette.
Oh,
yeah. Especially
Yeah.
if it's older and not really worth anything, but they
Or,
act like they're hot shit. Like they bought it
It's
in
just-
1994 brand new.
It's just
and
that
like,
piece
no
of
one cares
plastic.
about that. Yeah.
No one
Or
cares
like
about your
white
piece,
male
piece of plastic.
podcasters. Ugh,
Oh god.
The worst.
The worst.
I fucking hate those guys.
Especially when they talk about cryptids and creepy things. Ugh.
Oh my god. All right, let's just
Losers.
we need to jump in because like I said, this is already a 2-part episode and there's just I just don't even want to look into it anymore. Oh, Jamie, you want to go over some of the random facts?
I can give you some random facts real quick. Let me just give you some random things.
Vanessa,
about
long time
Rhode
no
Island.
see.
Oh
Hi,
my God,
darling.
so random.
So, H.P. Lovecraft has a museum in Providence. I believe we'll go over that later. This one's a good one. The only nuclear explosion to ever happen inside the U.S. outside of a controlled environment happened in Wood River, Rhode Island in 1964 when a worker at the United Nuclear Corporation Recovery Systems mistakenly put too much uranium solution inside of a tank, resulting in an explosion as well as their death. And the worker was the only casualty.
I thought that was cool.
Let me just stop you right there, and I
Yeah.
feel like it's important to point out. I've been to Rhode Island many a times. My wife is from there,
That's dope.
and I've always said if Rhode Island had like the actual state slogan, I don't know what it actually is, but what it should be is just look at this fucking guy, like that, because
Okay.
people are just walking around and you're just that's the first it's just there's just odd characters in that state, especially per capita. You're just driving around, yeah, look at that fucking guy, so
Really? They're that weird?
yeah, I mean not weird, but unique, just they make you double take off. It's a double take state.
Do you want me to tell you the state's slogan?
What is it?
Hope.
Yeah, those people need it.
It's just hope. Period.
Hope.
That's it. Yeah.
Hope.
That's
It's what are you
so,
hoping for? Just hope.
I like the brevity. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so it's said that a carnivorous tree digested the decomposing body of the Rhode Island founder, Roger Williams. And the tree wasn't charged with any crime, but you can go visit the tree today that literally ate his body.
That's amazing. Go
That's
tree.
good.
I did not know this. Do we have any more information on the man-eating tree? Because I feel like we should have ended with that one.
Realistically,
Oh,
what
we can do it next time.
All it is that a tree grew near his grave and overtook it. So it's
Boring. It's not like one of
Yeah.
those
Oh.
trees from Wizard of Oz where
Yeah.
the midget hangs himself.
No.
Little person.
No. You'd be surprised to know
yikes.
this, but Rhode Island is not zombie friendly, and they actually have a very specific law that you are not allowed to bite off another person's leg.
That's good, though. I think there's times where you need to have specific laws like that. Like, Florida would have done really good like a decade
I was going to
ago
say,
with don't eat people's faces. Like, if that was a law.
that sounds like a bath salts law.
Bath
Yeah.
salts, yeah, I should say bath salts, yeah.
Bath
That's
salts
not the
law.
only
Can we
weird
get
law that they
can we get
have.
something to
No,
pan
so I
across
was
the
gonna say,
screen?
so yeah, Rhode
Bath
Island just
salts.
has a bunch of weird laws in general, and I feel like we can do an entire episode on it. So if you guys want to go look it up, it's like super easy. Google it, but they have tons of weird
Let's
laws
not
that are
talk
just-
about the
yeah, we're not.
laws of state.
Listen, I think it's weird that you're
network.
not supposed to sell toothpaste to the same person that bought a toothbrush. That's an actual law for some reason at the
They're making
store.
drugs.
But I do think it's
For some
cool that
reason.
their McDonald's sells lobsters.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They're a big seafood town.
Let me talk
I
about
think
this
that's
for
cool.
a second.
Go for
They
it.
don't. It's not year round. They don't have
Okay.
the lobster roll year round.
It's like a seasonal thing.
I was in the train station in Boston going back to Rhode Island one time, and there's a McDonald's there in the terminal, and I was like, it was lobster roll season. It's like the McRib, but with lobster, you know. And
Was it like a
this
patty?
story doesn't really go anywhere, but I was like, I was standing in line, and then I completely pooned out like right at the end. I was like, I can't do it. I can't.
Okay,
eat
what's
lobster.
the
Yeah.
point?
But,
What's the point?
My brother-in-law, who you guys met in Vegas, seems to enjoy them immensely. So
Creepy.
McDonald's lobster roll.
I love that. All right,
Dope.
here is. I have two more
Oops.
facts for you. Oh, wait, do I have two?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, two more. Rhode Island has more shipwrecks per square mile than any other state, and if as looking at this map, you can probably imagine why. Going into that Bay Area, lots of low spots where lots of shipwrecks happened. And the last one is the house that inspired the movie The Conjuring is in Harrisville, Rhode Island.
We will have that in our
Bobby.
next episode.
Just so you don't avoid the word, it's Narragansett Bay.
Narragansett.
Narragansett.
Yeah.
So you don't avoid the word.
There's a cheap beer. I'm going to give you just random Rhode Island facts as we go
Yes,
through
please.
this episode.
Since
There's,
you know.
I like to ask people where, when you find out where they're from, like, what's the cheap go-to like dollar beer? And in Rhode Island, it's Narragansett.
Narragansett?
Narragansett, and I found a place in Brooklyn that sold Narragansett, and I was really excited about it. And the guy was like, "No one's ever ordered that." I'm like, someone just fucking did.
He's like, oh
my
wow, look at this guy.
You're like, you're going to take my picture and put it on the wall or what?
I like to go to like
this.
hipster ass bullshit Williamsburg cafes and order. Well, I guess they would order cheap ass beer there anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind
I
of
think it's interesting that there's so many shipwrecks there because that clearly states that even the ships don't want to be there.
No.
And they're just like, I'll die.
And if lots of shipwrecks, I feel like lots of deaths, so lots of haunted waters. So you were already you were creating this area where a lot of weirdness is happening.
Well,
Right.
and you have to think that this spot in general is exactly where like our first colonists came from.
Yes, I was going to
So
say
that's enough history on its own, especially, I mean, we're going to talk like you create wars and I mean, there's sicknesses, like disease spreading rampant. I mean, there's just so much, even just the forming of the country. I know that they, Rhode Island, I guess, didn't want to be a part of the Constitution. And so they fought back on that for a while and were like considered rebels. So there's just a lot of history in this town in general. And since we are talking about shipwrecks, that's pretty cool because our first stop here on the crazy train is the Black Island ghost ship.
racist.
Ooh.
Why do I keep saying that?
Block.
Block Island.
Block Island.
Okay, I see that. I don't see the O. I'm sorry, guys. Block
Please let's
Island.
not go into the history of the Black Island.
It's also known as the
Sounds very
Palatine
offensive.
Light or Block Island's burning ghost ship. And this is that tiny little, so like it's like so small. That's this like little dude right here.
And this is not the only thing that comes from this weird area. It's not the only weirdness coming from this island.
No. So it is 9 miles south off of the mainland. There's at least 5 major shipwrecks that were right off the shore of Block Island. and it had a reputation for like pirates and looters, and it was kind of this janky place where they're just like running wild. It was a place where no one wanted to go, especially if you were a sailor. So it took the reputation of that. And there is a quote here from Samuel Adams that said this, basically that the saying, "I would rather be wrecked anywhere than upon Block Island," was a very common saying anywhere for people that were sailors. Mm-hmm. So that's like the place no one wanted to go. It was like, we are not going there.
That's like harbingers would stand outside and be like, do not continue on, you will die.
So they would do things like, because they're trying to either lure ships to come closer to the shore, or even better, to get them to come on to the island. So they would do things like light a torch and put it like on a horse, and then not lighting the horse on fire, but just like have it on the horse. And then they would walk the horse in circles on the shore, so that from on the ship in the water, it looked like it was a lighthouse. And so it would bring the ships inward, seeing this like light go around, but really it was just a horse walking in circles. And
this is the kind of shit that TikTok ruins, like ideas like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
If you had TikTok, you would have never thought of that.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to say,
I don't understand what you mean by this.
Don't worry about it. The other thing I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I'm 90% sure that even the Nazi U-boats got as far as into.
Oh shit!
Into there,
sure.
Yeah, around Block Island. So,
well, can you imagine? Like,
sucks.
It really sounds like it's just like New Jersey.
It does kind of.
Come on, don't tell people from New Jersey that, or people from Rhode Island that.
I know, what the hell? I just think of this like wild little island. I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
It's not Block Island's an island, but it is worth noting the state of Rhode Island is not an island.
Yes,
it's not a Rhode Island.
It's not. It's actually named after some Roman isle.
We need some more
spring like Rhodes.
We did some heavy research on the origins of the name.
No, that's all it said. It was like it's named after a Roman isle named Rhodes, so it's called Rhode Island. And I was like, oh, it makes sense. Very literal.
So the story of the Block Island ghost ship has different versions of it, how it all went down. But the number one most common was that this ship coming, it was a British ship coming from what is now Germany, carrying immigrants that they called the Palatine, which was actually Princess Augustine or Augustus. Oops, I don't know. Oh well. Anyway, they're headed to Philadelphia. They get caught in a storm. And, of course, the islanders over there on Block Island are doing their normal fire dance, pretending to be a lighthouse. So they already lose a bunch of people in the storm. They're, like, crashing against the rocks. Shit's getting crazy. So they see what they think is the lighthouse. They go towards the water, and then, surprise, surprise, it is actually the pirates. They jump on board, take all the loot, kill all the people, and then they light this ship on fire and leave it out there in the ocean so it can just keep sailing, and then basically disperse of the evidence.
Well, yeah, it would like burn and then fall into the ocean, and then no one would know what happened.
And since this is December 27th, so it's just like 2 days after Christmas, there are people to this day that say during the times of Christmas that they either see this burning ghost ship, like almost like a mirage of the burning ghost ship, and they also hear like screams and cries of the people that died there.
So what you're saying is the long, sometimes tragic history of Rhode Island makes it a perfect storm for crazy, weird, wild things throughout the entire state.
Oh, absolutely.
It sounds like Rhode Island is built upon the souls of all of our ancestors, and
which were assholes, in my opinion. But whatever.
And they were assholes for sure, and that has created a bunch of paranormal activity.
Yeah, you got to remember too. Doesn't the Bridgewater Triangle get pretty? If it doesn't go through there, it gets really close.
It gets real close to it. Yes, 100%.
I think the southern tip gets into Rhode Island.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
They prom night it with that one.
Yeah.
The other version of this story is basically that the captain itself was a really shitty dude.
Well,
and
probably.
He starts killing all the people off.
This was the pirate ship captain?
No, of the Palatine. It was the captain that was kind of a douche and kind of in on it. He killed all the people and left his boat there. He basically joined Block Island. So there's different versions of the story. But overall, this is the main one, and this is why people think that they see the burning ship in the water and hear the cries of the poor people.
But it's really like people walking around with torches on their horses.
Torches on their horses.
Making little circles.
I feel this.
They're not on TikTok, Brie,
no,
right?
the people that are on the island say that they see this.
Okay.
Around Christmas time.
Drink.
They'll see the ghost ship. They'll hear it.
Drink.
They'll hear her cries. Why?
What happened?
Oh, here we go. Now we're getting into my shit.
Now we're getting into some shit.
Tony, take it away.
Okay, hold on. We can talk about this, but we're just kind of sticking with Block Island in general. There's other things, but it's like, okay, we have this burning ship. Now we're going to get a creature.
Creature feature.
Let's see it.
Do you guys know the story?
Of the Block Ness Monster?
Yeah, Tony.
Okay, so obviously, June 1996, this fisherman, J.T. Penny and Gary Hall.
Sounding like fake names. Can I just start off there? They sound real fake.
But considering it's Rhode Island, I mean, it's not really a real state.
That's...
Ooh.
Sorry.
That's Burns.
Sorry, not sorry.
Burns.
Yeah.
So they get this strange skeleton in their nets.
Tony, can I take it from here?
Yeah.
So they brought it ashore where the legend took off that they had captured a 14-foot skeleton of a serpentine sea creature. Tony, take it away.
So it's also very hard to capture a skeleton if if people are unaware.
Okay.
But the bones have since been stolen. So the bones were stolen.
Nice.
From their 14-foot skeleton.
But this wasn't that long ago. This is 96. And the people of the town say that when this happened and they brought it on shore, that it was like everyone in the entire state of Rhode Island all headed to Block Island to the shore there to see what was going on.
All 73 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, there was even a New York State biologist by the name of Lee Scott, who again sounds like a fake name, came to inspect a skeleton, and he was quoted as saying, "What the heck is this?" when he was looking at it.
So that looks
this
like
is an apparent picture, and I don't believe that. I look nothing like that. But
no, not you. Bree.
No, well, she says she's a goat.
You're not like an... Never mind.
Whatever.
She is, yes.
Animal, barn animal, indeed.
A Plesia pletosaurus.
I would believe it if it was this. However, this is the confirmed picture of just the skeleton. Oh, fuck.
Kind of looks like one of those, what were those things from the Dark Crystal called?
My bad.
Zexies. Looks like if you were to defeather a Zexie from the Dark Crystal. Bree, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, no. It does, though. Absolutely. In the head, right there. Oh, my God. Oh, yes. Absolutely. How did I not think about this? Of course, this one is very skinny. Those are very big. But this is a confirmed photo of just the skeleton, which is now MIA.
My question is, did they wait 14 million years for it to get engraved into that stone, or did they chip it out and put it in there?
They caught it in their net, so I don't know why it's like they caught it in a net.
I thought you were about to make your case as to why dinosaurs aren't real, so I got really excited.
Oh,
we'll do another episode on that.
It looks like somebody shot it in the head. Like it's got a hole right there in the middle of its
So
dome.
that was one of the details of this here skeleton, is that the eyes, they were just like sockets, almost like
it's
it
a
either
whale.
doesn't have them and it just has holes,
Or they're really
like,
inset.
or another sea creature plucked its eyeballs out with a small spoon. Ariel, maybe she's out there.
She's got her.
What's it called? Not a
Thank you,
spoon.
Sarah.
What do they call that fork in the Little Mermaid there? What is that called?
Oh, trident.
No.
No, the actual fork.
Trident.
Dingle hopper.
The dingle hopper. That's
we
what I'm
go.
looking for.
Dingle hopper.
So, we already have a strange beast. At least we have photographs and we have tons of people that had seen it. It's just that the bones are now gone. However, there are stories of people that say, like, oh, whoever the person caught it told people that they actually buried it somewhere there on Block Island and it's underneath some floorboards, and it's just like, turns into its own, as many things weird and creepy.
Little legend.
Yeah, they form their own craziness around it, and the game of telephone goes around. Mm-hmm. So it's
Why
got
is
its
the
own
picture in
creature.
black and white? This is 1996, right?
Because why not?
Because that makes it seem more scientific.
Because
Was it like a moody emo kid that took the picture?
I'm going to take a picture of my serpent skeleton.
oh, this is not. I'm having problems. Sorry, my thing is getting messed up.
I don't know how you guys. I'm just going to bring it up now because I don't know. It seems right. I don't know how you guys plan on fact or sci-fi the state of Rhode Island.
Right.
Oh no, we can go by every single one.
That's what
I have
was
no
gonna say.
problem
So,
with that.
If we have nothing much else left to say about the serpentine monster of whatever,
No, we will. We're gonna get back to that. I think.
Okay,
Oh, do you
okay.
want to do it one by one?
that's what I was going to say.
We
We can make them quick though. We can make them quick.
Yeah.
like that.
We're going to lighten around this whole geographic area.
I'm
Yeah.
not quickie.
She wants to do it at the end.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
No,
we'll do it
unless
at
you
the
guys want to take our sweet time.
We should have talked about this before we went live.
Yeah, we should have. We didn't even think about it.
Let's just keep going. It's fine.
So
Keep
now
going.
we are on to our next weird sea creature, which is actually considered one of the cryptids there in Rhode Island.
And this is super recent in 2007.
Whoever's got the drink button.
I did. That's me. It's my fault.
I'm going to drink my Heineken Zero.
Yeah, drink your non-alcoholic water.
This would make our second sea serpenty beast. There was a girl named Rachel Carney. She was out there in Teddy's Beach, which is in Portsmouth. She was
Portsmouth.
chilling. They're having a beautiful day.
Portsmouth, yeah.
Portsmouth.
Is it Mouth?
Yes, but it's pronounced Portsmouth.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
So the port of the mouth, they were at that place, and she was having a fantastic beach day there with her fiance, swimming in the water, having a great old time. She decides to float like I love to do in water. She starts floating, and then all of a sudden a strange, creepy creature pops up and starts doing like circles around her, almost like it's like coming in closer and closer. And
She said it was like toying with her.
every time she like bobs her head in and out, or it bobs its head in and out, it's like hissing at her. Terrifying. Her fiance saw it the whole time when he's there on the beach, so he's like Baywatch running out there to go save her. Gets her away, pulls her away, so she's lucky. But she said her quote was that she was deep out in the water, which I believe she shouldn't have been. It was like past the
Swimming barrier.
the swimming area, yeah, that was allowed. So she's out there hearing the hissing sound, and then that's when she saw the thing, this weird creature pop up while she was swimming, and knocking into her feet is kind of creepy. That would kill me. So she froze, and her fiance said that it had that the head was the size of a basketball. So like huge, right?
Really big.
Huge.
Yeah.
For a weird animal like that. And that the color was a greenish black color. Underneath was kind of white, which to me seems very marine-ish, like You know what I mean? It seems kind of normal. I don't know.
Yeah, sharks do the same thing.
But the teeth were each about like 4 inches long. I don't know how you estimate that one.
No.
But it almost like when I hear this story, it kind of reminds me of what they caught in Block Island. Like the description of this.
Very similar.
Ringing.
Do you guys want to watch the video of her talking about
Absolutely
what she saw? Okay, so I don't know.
Can we? Are we allowed to do that? Are we gonna?
Oh yeah, this is like an old like
fair use.
Yeah, fair use thing.
I
yeah.
saved it to our YouTube.
I don't know how well this is gonna play, but we'll see what happens.
Well, 4 inches long. I mean, this is like what, 4 inches?
It's hard to. I don't like when people measure things. It makes me irritated.
I'm gonna say that this is like 4 inches.
Of frightening animals in Rhode Island, a piranha in Coventry, an
Does it keep pausing?
alligator in Lincoln, and now it.
Oh no! I knew it wasn't gonna fucking work.
Hold on, I got it.
If you want to, it's
1 second. I have it. I saved it to our YouTube today.
okay. Beautiful. Play it for me, please. Because it's actually really good to see her like describe it because she's like genuinely terrified, like shaking, talking about it. Also, just so you guys know, there's this person on Reddit who found or is alleging that he has Bigfoot pictures from his trail cams, and I asked him to come on our show, so I'll update you guys when he replies.
All right.
Sweet.
What?
By the way, there was like I want to say a video that came out a few weeks ago.
About the guy who found the skull?
Yeah, that's all
Because that
horseshit.
was fake.
It's
Yeah.
all fake. I just want to throw it out there. It's like, oh, we have something like a modern breakthrough to talk about on the show, and I was like,
No,
oh,
absolutely not. He's
this
like,
is bullshit.
this is the one that was like all hypothetical.
Yep. It's just
Yeah,
art,
something
man.
like that.
I'm just making YouTube art.
Yeah, it's just art.
It's just art.
Okay, hold on. I have to cheddar.
Why'd you just unshare?
I didn't have the audio.
This has been a summer of frightening
we go.
animals in Rhode Island, a piranha in Coventry, an alligator in Lincoln, and now an unknown scary creature in Portsmouth. Whatever it was so big and so scary, a Fall River couple thought they were going to die. It's a story you'll see only here on Eyewitness News. The couple spoke exclusively with our Sean Daly. Sean joins us now with their amazing ordeal.
We haven't heard of anything quite like this around here before. Imagine swimming mindlessly in the late afternoon sun.
Mindlessly.
All of a sudden,
Mindlessly
out of
swimming.
nowhere, a huge,
Else
horrifying
you
creature,
swim.
roughly 15 feet long, rocks your world.
Rock your
Afternoon
world.
Here
I
at
love that he
Teddy's
says
Beach
that.
in Portsmouth. What happened gives new meaning to this danger
Fair
sign.
use.
There he is.
Oh,
The cigarette.
Oh, look at
this
that.
video. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I've
So
seen
hard
this.
for her.
Yeah. It's not even lit. Why you keeping it in your mouth, bruh?
To talk to a counselor this morning.
I think that's why they were like, he was like the ride of your
It was
life.
low tide, and Rachel Carney was out beyond the danger
You gotta
sign,
listen to their
floating on her
interview.
back, relaxing, when big trouble struck.
I turned around
So
and
this
heard
is
a hissing.
2007, and I
A
swear this
hissing
feels
sound.
like
So I
1993.
stopped. I
Oh,
looked
yeah.
beside
Feels
me.
like
You guys, I
1994.
can't hear her because you guys are
Sorry.
talking.
This is like Mystery Science Theater, Bree.
Shut the hell up.
We can riff on the Rhode Island
Turned around and
local
heard a
news.
hissing. A hissing sound. So I stopped. I looked beside me, and all I seen was a face come up with these big teeth. And I just remember the face being like shaped like a basketball, and the face went in. I kind of stepped in and then went like squared off. Then it went all white, and it kept swimming around me. It rubbed up against my leg, so I just stopped and I pretended like I wasn't moving. That's when it rubbed up, went down, kept going around me.
It rubbed up against your leg.
Up against my leg.
It
Literally.
touched you.
It touched me. That's
Are you
how
guys
I knew it
really
was
struggling?
Scales. With scales,
What do you
because I
mean?
thought the scales, plus I seen the face.
Everyone
So
looks like they're
I started
dying.
swimming away. I yelled, "Danny, help me! Something!"
I'm really engaged in this. Can you rewind
Rachel
it like
Carney's
before you
fiance,
started talking?
Dennis Vasconcellos, had been fishing with a buddy on these rocks. He raced into the water.
It's going to get her. I grabbed her by the ass, or rear end, and I grabbed her like that, and I whipped her in. We're over her head. I whipped her in. I says, Rachel, just swim. Don't turn around no matter what you hear, right? Now I stood there, and the thing's going like around me and stuff, all right? And I can see how big it is and stuff, and it's gigantic, okay? It has scales on it and stuff. Now all of a sudden, from me to you away, this big head comes up. Honestly, I've never seen nothing like this before in my life. It's like a basketball. It's like this big, okay? It comes up, and it's got these fangs, like my fingers, right? The first, this many in the bottom, and about 2 or 3 at the top, plus layers inside, okay? And it's like blackish on the top a little bit, and it's got a couple of scales that you can see and stuff, and you can see the white starting under its neck, and it shoots water out of its nose, right, and out of its mouth. It goes like this to me. It goes, and it spit the water out of it. Now I think it's gonna kill me. You know what I mean?
The group thinks the creature was attracted to
Can I just say
blood
real quick?
from a
The whole
nasty
time
injury to
that
Joey
guy was
Malo's
talking, I was
leg.
thinking,
Joey
look at
was
this
out in the
fucking
water
guy.
as he is right now. Joey, how much blood was there?
I bled for an
That's what I'm
hour
talking
and a
about.
half.
Oh my
and it just wouldn't stop.
He bled for an hour and a half.
I will not ever go in salt water again because I am not scared. I thought it was dead.
Look at those kids.
It's an interesting place with interesting people. We'll say that much.
At first I thought it was an eel.
I'm a big
okay,
fan.
'cause it was when it was rolling first, right? It was rolling, you could see the white and stuff. But when it got to chase her, it was going like this. You know what I mean? Like they go a little bit like this, like a hump sort of. It sounds like a barracuda, similar, like that, all right?
Man, you're still in the moment right now, 2 days later. You're still in this moment, are you?
I have flipped over this. I went to bed. I've been going to bed with things grabbing me, wrapping around my neck, choking, fighting underground and everything.
Still a mystery what the creature was. State environmental agents checked.
I love
out
how
the scene
straight-faced
today.
the entire
And
segment
nothing
is
but
of the news
best
side of
guess.
things.
Marine experts we checked with, they figure
Damn,
it
this
may
looks
have
like
been
it's made in
some sort of a
1990
tropical
fucking
fish
too. It's
that
crazy.
migrated here
Oh, yeah.
with a warm Gulf current. Mother Ocean.
Oh,
We're live. Sean Daly, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Sean.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
Mother news. Thank you.
That was incredible.
That was fucking
Wow.
That's great. Yeah, thank
That
you.
was a lot of detail.
That was
I appreciated
that was a relatively viral video from back before the internet was just people yelling at each other.
Yeah,
That-
that's back.
When everybody
back
got
when we had
along and
nothing else to
sold
watch.
send funny as fuck Rhode Island local news videos to each other.
Listen.
That lady seriously sounded like Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
scared.
That's why I was laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Peter
I'm
Griffin."
never going in the water.
That's all you see.
I'm so scared.
Violence in movies and sex on TV.
So I don't know. I would have bought the story if we would have just read it based off of text.
No, those people make it way more credible.
They make it. I mean, the lady does. She would have been better off if her fiance maybe didn't have a TV appearance.
It's never like a lawyer or like a pharmaceutical salesman that saw the sea monster.
Actually, that's so judgmental. You have no idea.
If
All right.
she's a lawyer, I'm
Not on local
going
news,
to
at
Rhode
least.
Island.
She's a lawyer.
Racist.
How's
They're both lawyers.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
They're lawyers.
Lawyers. They've both represented themselves.
Okay, are we ready for
right.
our next creepy
Guy?
situation?
Is it another local news segment? Because if it is, I'm very happy.
Fucking
No,
down.
but speaking of racist, let's hit up
All right.
H.P. Lovecraft. Segue.
Okay. So yes, H.P. Lovecraft,
Thank you, Tony.
who was born in 1890, was obviously racist, like everybody born in 1890.
Boom.
So if you don't know who he is pretty much the creator of like the whole cosmic horror, like real terrifying stuff. And it's funny because he is actually afraid of, well, was, because he died at the age of like 47.
He died of racism.
As he should.
He died of racism. He was afraid of like everything. He was afraid of caves, the New England countryside.
Oh my gosh, how do you write
like-
about something that freaks you out?
Textures and a bunch of other stuff.
He was an eccentric.
He was very.
He just
weird.
sounds neurodivergent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, then we can't call him racist because he's obviously part of a subclass that is.
You could be both.
You could be both.
You could be
I was
both.
like, you
You could be
can't.
both.
Tony, you don't need to
Yeah.
dog whistle me.
You can't use a mental illness to.
He was only like
excuse your
40. Like,
racism.
look at this
47.
man.
He
Well, I
looks
don't
like
think he
he's
was
still alive.
47 in that picture.
Yeah, he was
Just like-
younger, exactly. So like, he looked like he lived life. Like he looks like he's 47 in that picture.
The racism takes a toll.
Obviously.
So he was born in Rhode Island, and he moved out of the area, started writing really creepy stuff, and pretty much became the poster child from then on out for
Of
all
racism?
of this. That too. But imagine like if this dude hadn't wrote the things that he wrote, you would probably not have
A lot of
The
shit.
Thing, you wouldn't have Alien, you wouldn't have like Event Horizon, and all that stuff came from like what he kind of created.
Cosmic,
'Cause-
interdimensional space gods.
Yes.
Yeah,
There'd be no Cthulhu memes.
no Cthulhu memes. I guess I gotta step in here. What's his name? Stuart Gordon is probably the more famous director that did a lot of Lovecraft. A lot of Lovecraft fans don't find it to have done him justice to the original source material.
Oh, the
but-
HBO show?
No. There's because it's kind of 1980s fun horror, so it's like Reanimator,
Yeah.
Bride of Reanimator, From Beyond, stuff like that. And then Nick Cage was just in Color Out of Space a few years ago, which was a pretty fantastic film based on the Lovecraft story.
Was it? What's it called?
Now,
Color Out of Space.
Can we put that in the chat, please, sir?
Yeah.
What's it
Now,
called?
there's
Color Out of
actually-
Space?
there's actually a really good short story that he wrote. I think it's his first short story. I've got his entire collection.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, say that again.
Which
Show
part?
it. Show it,
Oh,
baby.
the book.
That's a cool cover, actually.
Oh yeah, it's got it's all
Oh
old-fashioned.
wow.
The
Yeah.
complete collection. Can you open up just
Complete.
one page so we can see what it looks like? Is it
Well,
like
this is the
poem-y
inside.
style?
This is the inside of the cover,
Oh, that's
Vibes.
and then it's pretty.
dang.
It's
It's like
pretty
it's a book.
significant. It's a thick book.
It's a
like
thick
a Bible.
boy.
This book is thick.
Thick as hell.
And
Did you guys watch? Sorry, go ahead.
HICC.
his very first short story is The Beast in the Cave. And he describes this beast as this slender, pale, white-skinned, subhuman kind of creature.
Hot topic.
Yeah. And when I was thinking about it today, because I specifically remembered this, and it fits the description almost exactly, except the creature in his short story has long white hair to the rake.
Oh,
And I started thinking about all of these, like, sort of I guess neo cryptids, these new cryptids that have come out over the last 20 or 30 years. A lot of them draw heavily from H.P. Lovecraft's work. If you actually read the work, and a lot of it actually seems to come from that.
There's
So
a lot
he
of like
plays-
Stephen King stuff too, right? That is a lot of it is based off of all of his work.
Definitely inspired by, I would say Clive Barker's probably a little more visually in the vein of Lovecraft.
Yeah.
But Tony, I don't know if you know much about this, but I feel like there's a whole theory with like Aleister Crowley and L. Ron Hubbard and the guy that founded NASA. When they did all their weird occult sex magic in the desert, didn't they open the rift and allow Lovecraftian monsters into our realm?
So goes
that
the
is
story.
the story. Yes.
Okay.
And then there is a movie. I don't think anybody saw it, but I think it's called The Deep or something
The Deep
like
sounds
that.
right.
It's got the girl
Sounds familiar.
from what's the girl who doesn't make any expression that acts that was in the vampire and werewolf movie.
Vampire.
Kristen.
werewolf.
Kristen Stewart.
Yes. She's in that movie, and the monster
I
at
watched
the
that recently. I watched that recently.
Wait,
The
the
monster
2012 or
Yeah.
1977?
no, it's a newer movie.
Yeah, it's new because I've watched it recently. Corey watched
I
it.
think
Oh, you
it-
know what? I watched that fucking movie too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the creature at the end of the movie is actually Cthulhu.
Is it this movie?
No, that has
No, that's a
more.
movie about surfing.
You said it was
Yeah.
I think it's
what?
called The Deep or something. I had to
it's-
look it up.
Yeah, I'll have.
I know
yeah,
exactly
I-
what you're talking about, though.
What is
Yeah,
that
it's
movie
like
called?
it's like an underground like drilling station that she's at,
Yeah.
and something attacks them, and they have to get out of it. And the deeper that they go, and then they find the monster at the end, and then I won't tell everyone the ending. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I saw that
Spoilers.
too. I totally saw that.
We should figure out the
Yeah.
name of that movie before the end of this episode.
Yeah.
I will tell you guys.
It
I
It was on
actually,
Netflix.
I actually didn't
Or maybe
think it was
Prime?
bad.
It wasn't awful. Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
And she
I thought
looks
it was
so
really
cute with her
good.
shaved head.
Yeah, I thought it was not
Underwater.
bad.
It's called
Underwater.
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 And came out in
Yes.
2020, and it's actually a sleeper. I think if you like that kind of
Aw.
stuff, you would like that movie.
A sleeper.
Yeah, because people slept on it.
I was like low key.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, it's not anything.
I don't watch a lot of TV and movies, and I don't pay attention to a lot of things. But I remember like watching that, and it's for me to even pay attention to that. Like it was decent. It kept my attention.
But I
I
think it's a
don't remember how
shame
it
that
ends.
there really aren't any good adaptations of any of his work. And I
So
think
this was one?
I think it's on the better end of the scale because there's a lot of B movies that
Like
pull from it.
Dagon.
Yeah. But
Oh shoot.
I think part of it's because it's so niche, and if you made a movie as fucked up as his stories are, it people just won't watch it.
Here's what I would say. Read his stories, and if you're going to watch the movies, just pretend like the movies have nothing to do with H.P. Lovecraft, and you might enjoy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Is anytime someone here like kind of hears he's involved with it, they're like, I don't know if I want to be into that.
Yeah, it's
But
a
then
very
also-
judgmental crowd of people.
I was like, but then also at the same time, there has been instances where, like me and Bria went to a place and there was like a whole booth of H.P. Lovecraft, and I was like, oh my god, it was crazy, like selling all his books and stuff, and there's like people all up into it, and I was like, do people not know what's going on here?
Yeah, people love him. He's the Stephen King of his day.
Yeah.
This movie I thought was good.
I thought it was
No,
a
it's
great
good.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't remember how it ends. Maybe I should watch it again.
I remember how it ends, and I don't want to tell you.
I just remember I paid attention for most of the movie and then I got busy.
It was a decent ending, I think, considering how most endings can happen inside of movies. It's like, oh, okay.
It definitely was one of those movies where it, like, raised my anxiety, where, you know, like suspense movies do that to me, where it's like you gotta like run before a door shuts, or, you know, those kinds of things where it's like, that, and we were watching this,
and that's definitely one of those. Yeah, there's like this one instant where they're like crawling through this small space, and I remember I was watching it and I was like curled up, like, oh god, what are you doing? Get out of there!
Yeah,
Stop that!
that's literally like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it's a quick actor. Quick
Very
action.
suspenseful, very crazy.
I also just like that it, I mean, I understand that this was based off of Lovecraft stuff, but I also think that it kind of ties in with the idea of, like, underwater aliens, and also the idea of, that we've already dug and built these underground structures deep underwater. That's always been such a big conspiracy.
Yeah.
If
Well, I
you
think
think
that-
you can do it.
I think that it takes also the idea of like Atlantis and all these underwater cities that are out there and modernizes it into this. Well, if it's out there, then it's government and we built it and we're using it for things. So I think it takes kind of like these older versions of these stories and puts it in a more modern light of how we would interpret it.
Yeah, there's also the group of people that think that what he was writing about wasn't something he made up in his head, but was actual real shit. And that a lot of it being based off of the Rhode Island area where he grew up and lived and died, and why his grave and museum are there. A lot of people think that he was actually writing about stuff that he saw.
100%.
Like he was tapped in.
Yeah.
No, 100%, especially because of all the kind of people he was involved with and weird shit that they were doing. Whether or not that was actually doing rituals and seeing into the other side of the veil or just doing enough drugs where you're hallucinating off of your fucking mind is a little bit debatable. It's a thin line, I think. But I think definitely these are things that he saw, whether they were in his mind or they were real. These were things that I think haunted him.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like, I mean, everyone knows. What would you guys say? I've always pronounced it Cthulhu, but after looking into a little bit of him for this episode, I saw that it was meant to be Cthulhu. Cthulhu, but I like Cthulhu.
All of Cthulhu.
It's probably one of the most mispronounced names in
also,
literature.
Sure.
Probably one of the best Metallica songs, in my opinion. That was always my dad's alarm clock. And like it seems like not a great way to wake up in the morning. But it really was. And it was you guys probably know the song. But yeah. This cute little guy.
Shout out
What is up
to let me give the chat some attention here. Shout out to Alien Girl 1111. No, it's just 111.
It's 3, yeah.
Oh, right on. Logan, Janet, Big Willie, My Flock is Everywhere, Night Gazer, Spooky, Hides in Long Grass. That's a loyal viewer.
We love Hides in Long Grass. Yeah.
And I think that's it.
There's 18 of them there. Hey, all 18 of you, my loves.
What's up, y'all?
What's up?
Howdy doody. Now you know a little bit about Cthulhu. Cthulhu.
Coochie-coo.
Cthulhu.
Coochie-coo. I'm going to call him Coochie-coo.
I wonder
Squid-faced
if we
Bat
should
Boy.
look. Squid-faced Bat Boy. I wonder if we should look into that for Halloween.
Ooh, okay, let's do it.
I would like to go to a more grounded creepiness there
Get to the
in
more
Rhode
foresty side of
Island.
Rhode
And I know
Island?
that Bobby had the pleasure of physically attending.
Yeah.
Why does this keep happening to me?
Yeah, let's
Oh
talk.
my god! I'm sorry. There's something wrong with my thingy.
Can I just point out,
Patience,
Bree,
don't look.
how whoever does the slideshows, that's a lot of work, and I appreciate it.
Bree does it.
You're welcome. There we go.
All right, let's talk about Belcourt Castle. This is the third largest mansion in Newport, Rhode Island. And Newport, Rhode Island has a lot of mansions, and that mansion's pretty goddamn big. So this was built in 1891 for Oliver Belmont. And can I just say before I go any further into this, if you're my age, born in the mid to late 80s,
80s, yeah.
Belmont.
This is essentially the castle level from the DuckTales video game on the original Nintendo. That will make sense in a second here.
Really thought you were going to go with Castlevania with Belmont.
No, the Belmont thing. No. Yeah, but just roll with me because this isn't a lot of like malevolent spirit activity. This isn't particularly active. However, it goes through its phases. They'll talk about how decades will go by and no one will really report anything spooky, and then some other crazy stuff happens. So it was finished in 1894. When I toured it, there's like this whole downstairs area. It's like a marble. It's called. I think it's called the Marble House. It's connected.
The Marble House.
Think of it like a garage, but meant for really fancy horses. And I believe they turned it into a ballroom eventually because it was that excessive. So they actually, the Belmont family owned it till 1940. For a while, it was bought by George Waterman. I was reading it sold for $25,000.
Can you believe that?
What steal?
Bearing in mind, this is a 50,000 square foot fucking castle.
Yeah.
What year was this sold in? That it was.
I thought that was the late
like
50s.
the mid-century, yeah, when they sold it to the pennies. Yeah. I mean, it's probably cheaper in 1940.
Yeah.
But the Tinnies bought it in the, I believe, the early or late mid-50s.
Late 50s.
And they owned it till about, I want to say, the early 2000s, like 2006 or so.
Wow, what a fucking steal! The fucking money they
Can you imagine?
No shit. And they didn't seem like when I watched interviews with the matriarch of the Tinnies, they didn't seem like kind of like bougie old money. They just seemed like people that happened to inherit a fucking castle.
Yeah, they look like, this is cool. These things are haunted.
Yeah.
When I watched her interviews, I thought the same thing. I'm like, this is an ordinary woman.
Yeah.
Who seems more just excited that she has this giant house and that there's these collector items in there. I heard her talking about some of the hauntings and things in there.
And bearing in mind, 60,000 or 50,000 square feet, this was just like a summer like party pad for these.
It's just a party pad.
I have a question for everybody.
Yes.
Would you guys live in a house like this with ghosts like that? Like,
fuck
could
yeah.
You comfortably? Yeah. Like, you think you'd be fine with it? I think I'd be fine with it, in all honesty. As long as I wasn't there by myself, as long as someone else was in the home with me, I think I'd be fine.
Yeah, I could be there. It's 50,000 square feet. Even if you're there with somebody, you're by yourself if you're in a different room.
And the activity is incredibly
I'd
sparse.
attach myself to them.
It is, but there have been like psychics and stuff that went to the house. I was reading this one girl who was like a psychic medium, and she went to the house and she spent some time there, and she like for sure identified like 15, I want to say, spirits in the house, and they're all kind of different, and a lot of them were a little bit shisty ones.
Shysters.
Now, you gotta remember too. One thing to keep in mind is it's felt that and reported that it's not so much the house itself that's haunted, but a lot of the
items.
Like ancient artifact items that these people collected
for sure
seem to have some sort of spirit attached to them in one way or another.
For sure. Oh my God, that's my thing. Is you have a collection of random. I mean, there's like there's even like a samurai.
Think about the
a monk that haunts it. I mean, you have like all these different cultures and backgrounds, and I don't know. That's just like a cluster of.
I think that's like a pretty unreported part of hauntings. It's not. It's like the item itself. Because think about like the who are those people in New England? Those old folks that hunt ghosts. The Conjuring's based on. Why can't I think of their name?
Oh, the Warrens.
Oh,
the Warrens. Their whole like museum of like wild treasures.
Weird shit,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it's just like there's something to that. You hear about like everything from like haunted dolls to haunted mattresses, and you're just like,
oh yeah, it's attached to all sorts of things. There's one where it's like it's a chair, so they like nailed it upside down to the ceiling because if people sit in it, they die, and people were sitting in it, testing it, and then they die.
Not here.
Absolutely wild.
No, just in general. Like
no, yeah. Here.
I do have the chairs. Hold up.
Oh,
look at that.
Ooh.
So yeah,
like
there's these probably the
mm.
most famous high strangeness paranormal activity has to do with these Gothic castle chairs that are in the grand ballroom, which is upstairs. I've been in that room and I've seen those chairs, and they're like kind of roped. There you go. They're all roped off. So basically, what it is, it's one of those situations where if someone sits in them, they either feel some sort of like inherent, like gut intuitive, like resistance. And there's also been reports of like people witnessing like women or a woman being thrown out of it completely. So actually, like
get the hell out of my chair
thing. So this is kind of a funny story from when I went there. I went there with my wife and we were just touring it. It was pretty early in the morning. There was one other family there, and I believe they were from West Virginia because they had a hoodie on with a University of West Virginia logo on it.
Okay.
And keeping in mind, this was not a ghost tour. This was just a tour of the mansion.
Okay.
So like
it wasn't
the guy,
specifically like ghosty.
no, yeah, I mean that's one of the things you can kind of do up there is check out old as fuck cool houses.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we went there. It's just like, it's not a ghost tour, right? It's just a guy that's like really passionate about Rhode Island, New England history, and he's like walking you through the mansion, telling you the stories of all the furniture and whatnots. And this family is just like, the whole time I got the feeling like, oh my god, these people think that they're on a ghost tour, because they kept
let down.
Yeah, they kept asking, goes like, where are the haunted chairs and all this shit, and we're just like, oh my god,
Wrong tour.
yeah, so
That's
you can tell the
Halloween at
guy, the tour guide probably gets that a lot.
Oh yeah.
And you could just tell it was that kind of frustration where you're like, oh, this isn't this guy's first rodeo. So it was pretty funny.
You know what? I think it's important to point out though that after the teenies left, I mean, there was a period of time where there was just so much work to be done at that house that it stayed at a lower cost because you're obviously going to pay for the square footage, the property, but everything inside needed to be redone. So there was a period where it was meant to just kind of be like a place where you rent out for parties. Mm-hmm. So like Jennifer Lawrence, for instance, rented this place out when she was married for this like giant party.
Ooh,
and
ghosty.
Super ghosty, but if you aren't thinking about it, and if there's enough people and you aren't in tune to these type of things, I don't think
just
you
having
will
the time of your
ever
life, yeah.
notice.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've noticed from my own experiences is that you can be somewhere where no one feels or senses or has any weird experiences. But if you're someone that is prone to that, then you can go somewhere and have all of the feelings, have all of the instances. So I don't really think it's so much that the items are haunted at just like at certain times or whenever the hell it wants to be. I think it just depends on who's there, who's in the room,
going on, yeah.
what are they in tune to, because that's what you obviously will attract. And I know for sure with paranormal entities and things, if when they know that you seem to be more in tuned, then they seem to be more like going after you, trying to make more contact with you because they know that you can hear them, you can see them.
And also, if a big giant party is going on in there, you're not noticing a chair moving or being touched on your shoulder or like hearing a whisper or some shit. You know what I mean? So there could absolutely be all of that activity going on, but just life is happening and no one's paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
What did it smell like in there, Bobby? Did it smell musty?
No, I mean it's not a museum, but it's more or less a museum.
Febreze,
I think people live there now. It's privately owned.
It was sold and redone by, I should have worn my bracelet. I always wear my bracelet. Alex and Annie. The woman that owns Alex and Annie. They have the bracelets and they'll be like themed towards certain things. I'm sure you guys have seen them. They're just like those basic silver bracelets and it'll have kind of like a charm on it.
Yeah.
A charm bracelet?
Basically, they're like stacking bracelets. Like I have probably 50,000 of them that are just Disney ones.
But they own this house?
Yeah, she bought the house. And so she was saying that like they took their fucking time redoing everything in the house, and she said that it like not only needed to be cleansed normally, but that it needed to be cleansed energetically. And so she redone this place to now look like pristine glamour, in my opinion.
You have to have like stupid money to one, buy a house like that, and then two, like,
it's a huge item.
Yeah.
There's like at least $25 like little piece of bracelet.
So
they're very.
They got money.
Shmoney. They have shmoney.
Yeah.
And yeah, this a lot of the activity in this house plays out like a fucking 1960s Vincent Price movie. Mm-hmm. So there's a set of there's a set of suits of armor, but one in particular is said to like it like moans and screams and will move occasionally. Which
yeah,
is
the
so
story
funny.
is he died in the armor that's there. So
That sucks.
a psychic was in there. Yeah, so it was like even the teenies were saying that, because I did catch a video of her saying like, oh no, he yells and screams, and like they heard it, and so did the staff. He'll yell and scream randomly. And then a psychic went there and was saying that he died this painful, horrible death in that armor. And so sometimes he's reliving his death. And that I guess it can like move its head and like look at people who are touring the house. Like, I don't know about that.
And there's probably like a painting that follows you with its eyes.
It's this guy.
Yeah.
This guy right here. I did see that there was a mirror.
I'd name him Mario.
Did you see that?
And just yell, Mario, shut up.
I was thinking like Marvin. It was giving me M vibes though, so I feel you.
I don't know. I guess there's a mirror that was securely fashioned and flush to the wall, but yet when you look through the mirror, it looked like the house was moving. And that did remind me of the paintings where the eyes move, like in the haunted,
telling you, this is just how people
in the
saw
haunted
the
mansion
world
in
before
Disneyland.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Why do you keep making TikTok references? I'm so confused.
Me too.
Try this.
I just keep laughing.
Is there anything else cool about your trip there? Like, how long ago was this, you think?
This is like probably 2018, so not that long ago.
Not that long, pre-COVID.
But yeah, I mean, it was just you just walk
4
through
years.
a big ass house and they tell you about what rich people did in certain rooms, and you're like, that's cool. And I'm just like, with the family, like, where's the fucking haunted chairs? Because I want to get out of here if there's no haunted chairs.
You're like, I want to see.
And they don't let you guys sit in them, do they?
Not in those. No, I don't. No, I don't think you're not supposed to really touch anything.
Touch anything, yeah.
Yeah.
Just your feet to the floor.
It's all historical.
The windows are.
From the window.
I would love
the
to
wall.
check it out if it was in the condition of the pictures and not before it was redone to be like a place that you visit and throw bougie baby showers or something.
No, like they maintained it pretty well. Like it looks like you're walking through an old ass.
But I also feel like if you have money, you can pay anyone to do anything. So maybe they don't have a lot of bougie baby showers here, but like Jennifer Lawrence is Jennifer Lawrence and she gets what she wants.
Oh no, they have lots of bougie like
Oh,
the
is that what the thing
website for
there?
it now. The website for it now is like host a party, come
Stay at the
do a
castle.
tour. It's like gorgeous. You have the full on tables with the full flowers and the chandeliers, and it's glamorous and beautiful.
Catering to it. I gotcha.
You could do like a wedding reception there or something.
Well,
cool.
that's also like even on that website, they don't mention a thing about the history, and it's like at some point you have to decide who your audience is going to be and what's going to make the most money. Is it going to be playing off of that this is haunted and hoping that enough people come, or is it going to be redoing it to be a gorgeous mansion where people can rent out often
Why
for
not
parties
both?
and things?
Yeah.
Why not both?
'Cause
Can
they
you
want
imagine
pansies.
living in a castle that big and you're looking for somebody and you have to text them like, hey, where are you? They're like,
No,
I'm in
because
the
I've
northwest corridor.
I've lived in
Start yelling.
I've lived
You've
in
lived in a
pretty
castle,
decently-
Jamie?
not in like a castle, but a large house before, and I have had to text people to be like, "Wait, where are you?"
Where
Oh.
are you? But something
First world
that big,
problems.
if they were like, I'm in the northwest corner, I'd be like, fuck it, I'll see you tomorrow.
No, you have to get the intercoms. I used to have that in my
cart.
old house.
Yeah.
We'd have intercoms, and so like no matter what time of the day, your parents can always yell at you.
Mm-hmm. No matter
That
where
was
you
my
are,
life.
what room. Yeah.
Yeah, come pick up your dog shit. Like that. That was always my problem. Your dog pissed in the living room.
Roxy.
That's why you get Roxy in Florida. That was like the only reason why I feel like the intercom was ever used.
ever used.
It was just to yell at me to come pick up her dog shit, or if she went and pissed somewhere she shouldn't be.
That's funny.
This is our last stop for the day. We do have many other creepy mansions and houses / locations in the second part of Rhode Island.
So don't
But
worry,
we are
we're not
ending
stopping,
here.
But this is
We
our
ain't
part one
stopping.
ending.
But this is our sixth. This is our sixth situation, so I'm trying to keep you guys here all night. Let's get into Mercy Brown.
The vampire.
The vampire.
1892.
And Rhode Island was known for a while as the vampire capital of America. She's kind of cute, maybe not.
No.
It kind of comes down. So, does anyone know about this story?
Yes.
Tuberculosis.
Okay.
And tuberculosis.
I will mention this just a little bit, and then you guys can kind of clue into that. But this is a story that kind of starts from an illness that we're now educated about. And like most things back in the day, they weren't aware that it was just a normal disease and things happen. So at the time, tuberculosis, TB, was the main disease of fatalities in the United States. And it was then known as consumption. So it freaked people out because they didn't know what it was. They just saw the symptoms. You got the night sweats. You have foamy blood, which if I saw foamy blood, immediately I'd think zombies. I mean, you're coughing up white phlegm. You're tired as hell. Obviously, no one wants that.
Yeah, people thought that consumption was a curse on the family and that it was due to like the evil undead. So it immediately, it's like back in that day, it was like the Victorian era. So they cared much more about superstition than they did like actual medical facts and things. And so it was very much like the vibes of like witch trials kind of shit, where it's like, oh, they got the foam and blood. So that means that they've been cursed by the devil and the undead are coming up to kill us all.
Well, the interesting thing about this story is that the person that they laid blame on had died by the time that they did. So it hits this small town in Rhode Island. How do you say that? Exeter?
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Exeter.
I just like to say Exeter. Exeter out of here.
Exeter.
It's the 19th century. It hits Exeter. I like to say Exeter, but whatever. And this is an actual picture here of what the doctors at the time were doing. And it was hypnotism. They thought they could hypnotize the tuberculosis patient out of it, which obviously was not happening. It's just like so funny. I mean, not funny, but it's cool how far we've come. I think as a species, you know, we were actually, now that I think about it, we've kind of overly gone in the scientific side. Almost like we've lost a balance. Like we were too superstitious. There wasn't any medical science. Now that we know medical science, we don't necessarily take into account superstition or anything that's kind of fringe as a real thing. So that's kind of interesting if you think about it. We've just like the pendulum has really swung the opposite way.
Real big Hillary Clinton flippy floppy.
I agree. I mean, there's not nearly enough doctors prescribing cocaine for cancer.
Right? Or women, hysteria, just literally
needing vibrators.
Yeah, giving them vibrators.
Yeah.
Cocaine and vibrators. That's a fun Saturday night.
Right?
Honestly, that's just like my everyday life.
Back in that day. Honestly,
that's just my everyday life.
Cocaine and vibrators.
that's my lifestyle.
A glam punk band.
Yeah. So tuberculosis is really making its way through, and it hits this town. It takes over. So Mercy Brown's family, they all basically start to get hit with tuberculosis. It starts first with this farmer, George Brown, who was very well known in the area. So, and of course, it's a very tiny town. We're already talking tiny state, so we can just imagine it's a mini city, a mini town.
There's like four, maybe 4 to 7.
Everyone knows everyone's birth chart. Yeah. One horse.
No horse counts as part of the population.
Yeah.
So George uses his wife.
City council. Sorry.
He's on the city council.
was bad.
He never says I. He only says nay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you saved that. Agree with the assist.
Okay, anyways, so poor George. George's wife gets sick and she done died. And then 2 years later, his oldest daughter, she also dies of the same sickness. And his son, Edwin, starts to get really sick, but he doesn't immediately die. He gets really sick in 1891, and it just kind of progresses from there. But then by 1892, Edwin's sister, which would also be George's daughter, probably his youngest daughter, she dies at age 19. But that's kind of like this is when people really start to like think a little bit too much in their minds and making, circles like, well, how come all of his family is dying? Like, what's the deal with that? That's a little bit
exactly, and that's why the whole curse thing came up. It's like, oh, his family is cursed, obviously, 'cause it's everyone in his family.
There's got to be something else. So the rumors get crazy, and people are trying to tell George about this weird sickness, that it would only make sense if there was a deceased person in his family that is basically sucking the life force out of the living members. So maybe like when his wife died or something, that there was someone else there that's like sucking the life force out of everyone else, and that's why people are dying one by one.
And this is an important fact for later in the story.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine. I do believe in things like weird. I mean, you could say like a poltergeist, but I can't really think of a person, a flesh and blood person that had its own soul sucking the life out of. I don't know how that works.
Yeah. I mean, and what's interesting is they obviously knew about things like smallpox, and that if you have smallpox, that you can transmit it to other people because of, what they did before that. And then now there's this new disease, tuberculosis, and they're just like, nah, it's vampires.
Exactly.
Oh, no, it's gotta be something creepy. So, by March 17th, 1892, a doctor and a bunch of the townspeople, because they're going fucking crazy, want to exhume some of the bodies of each of his family members who died of tuberculosis, which is kind of crazy because, like, I don't think it's normal to dig up the dead. If anything, they should have been thinking that would create more of a curse to pull dead people out of their grave.
Yeah,
They're
real.
already resting. It's just like, there's a disconnect here. So when they pull everyone up in the family, they realize that everyone's decaying in the proper timeline, in the proper way, except for Mercy Brown.
Bitch.
And Mercy Brown, it should be said that the two family members that they dug up were buried underground, but Mercy was buried and embalmed in an above ground vault.
Huh. I wonder what that would have to do with it.
Well, because if they're in the ground, worms are literally eating them. And when she was above ground, she's literally encased inside of her tomb. And so why that's significant is because Mercy's body was said that it didn't decompose at all. And so this to them was proof that she was a vampire because her body was still in perfect condition. And part of that was because she was literally not in the ground being decomposed upon by the ground.
So because they found blood in her heart and her liver, they then were like, yep, she's a fucking vampire. She is sucking the life energy out of you, George. Don't you see? What do we have to do? We have to, like, burn it. Just burn it all down. Get rid of it. Which, that's just like a disgusting thought to think that you've already buried your daughter and now you're going to dig her up, you're going to cut her open, and then you're going to burn her heart and her liver and then put her back.
Yep.
Wicked.
But that's what they did because they thought that she was a vampire solely based off of that.
I can see
What I'm
Seems
I mean,
reasonable.
this picture, yeah. I mean, that's not her best. I don't think this was her good side. But
That hairstyle's not doing it for her.
No.
no, I wouldn't do it for anyone, to be honest. What I am surprised at is that this has stayed a vampire story, and that it has yet to turn, unless I'm unaware, unless it hasn't like hit the internet since I'm not in Rhode Island. I'm surprised that this hasn't turned into a ghost story.
Much more of a ghost story, I think.
Or like a haunting. Because you're disturbing the
or
buried,
just medical
the dead.
malpractice.
Well, for sure, but you're disturbing
A likely excuse.
the peace.
Can I talk about what they did to Mercy's body?
Oh hell yeah! Oh fuck.
Mercy L.
Yes.
Mercy. So the people actually removed Mercy's heart and burned it. And what they did next was a little crazy. The ashes were mixed with water and then fed to her brother Edwin, believing this would stop the undead from feasting on him in the night. Edwin died of tuberculosis anyways. It did not... I'm surprised he didn't die from eating a dead person's weird heart.
No, that's
was
so
in Bond de
disgusting.
Yeah.
But that was
weird
interesting
story.
that's what they decided what to do was to take the heart and have someone eat it. Much different than the steak and the heart that we have today.
Yeah, isn't that how you create a Wendigo? Like through cannibalism?
I
Is
thought
it?
I
I don't
thought the
know.
Wendigo just has to like check out my ass.
Nah, that's the snake-haired lady, Medusa.
Medusa.
Medouche.
I feel like they're all
I
like
bet you
that.
turn you to stone.
Yeah.
This
that's
is
right.
this was a real print, by the way, back in the times.
Believe in
Solid.
vampires. We don't have enough of that anymore.
Yeah, we need more of that shit.
We do.
You mean like we should start this? Like forget Democrat and Republican. We need,
We need
an
to fight vampires. We
anti-vampire
need to
party.
unite to fight
Yeah.
vampires.
Right here,
Fight
member
vampires.
of the anti
That are not a cryptid because we have
Vampire
decided
party.
that.
Yep,
You know
they're a
what's
magical
funny
being.
though? Like
We're on
when
the
I
oppression
looked,
scale are vampires.
when I started looking up all this, I did see on the interwebs that they do sell T-shirts that's like Rhode Island cryptids, and then
And
it
the
just
vampire's
has,
on there.
But I think you can't leave it out.
You can't leave it out.
You know, you have all those other dudes. You can't leave it out.
Vampires is a pretty big deal not to talk about.
Yeah, no.
It
Well,
is.
especially in New England. I mean, we should dive into that maybe Halloween because it seems like it was particularly to the New England area where it was really like popping with the vampires. How did that start?
Drugs.
Little teaser for October.
No,
Teaser.
indeed.
Teaser.
So you guys can go check out Marcy's grave. Poor gal. Maybe we
19.
can. If I was there, I would go like to the butcher at a store. I would buy a heart. I would buy a liver, and then leave it as an offering.
Leave it as an offering for sure.
That wouldn't be weird.
Yeah.
That's not weird at all. I feel like you'd probably find other old ones that were there, people doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get like a cow heart or a goat heart.
Yeah, or like a little pig
Yeah.
heart or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
leave
sure.
it there.
Small child, same thing. So there's now 2
Heart.
graves that you can see there in Rhode Island that were major characters in history.
Oh. All right, Bree. So how are we going to dissect this into
Part 2 next week.
Yeah, next week. How are we going to dissect this into a fact or sci-fi situation?
Oh Lord.
I think that
Let's-
Rhode Island is definitely an interesting, weird, creepy area that has a lot of interesting history that definitely breeds for a lot of ghosts and stuff. Like you talk about like the other side of the pond where Kari's at. They have tons of this kind of shit because of how old they are. And so I think that Rhode Island being one of our oldest
old they are.
areas, it's prone to have a lot of these weird, creepy stories.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we will do Alaska in August. No joke, baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to go one by one.
Okay. And we'll do it quick. Let's not marinate on it because
Yep.
Cause
All right.
what?
we got part 2 to get to.
Oh my god.
In a week.
We're not
All
doing
right.
it today. Yeah, it's a week.
Block Island ghost ship Fact or sci-fi, Brie?
Fact.
Okay. Tony?
Middle bitch.
Middle bitch? Okay. Bobby?
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi. I am going to middle bitch it.
Middle bitches win.
Middle bitch wins.
We
All
win.
right, next.
I mean, technically, yeah, because I think that me and
Going
Bobby,
medium and
we
mode,
cancel
middle bitch wins.
cancel each other out.
Yeah.
We'll pretend like we're playing cornhole. You know, I make a point, you make a point. We're canceling each other out. So
Yep.
middle bitches
Fractions.
win. Middle bitches win.
Fractions.
Fractions. No, just cornhole.
All right, next.
The Blockness Monster.
All right, Bree started off.
I feel like it has to be true if there's a picture.
Okay.
Oh,
I mean, you guys know what I mean. Like,
this is
there's
very serious scientific inquiry right now.
There's a
It
picture.
must be true. There's a picture of it.
you guys are
Where'd you
dicks.
get this
You know what I
magic?
mean? Come on.
that's-
Look at
that's
that.
Yeah.
That does not look like your average grandma.
Tony, are you sci-fiing it?
Yes.
You got to keep in
Okay.
mind they didn't have TikTok back then, so they'd have traveling circuses.
The fucking TikTok. Like,
They'd have
what is
traveling
the
little traveling
deal?
sideshows with things like this. in
Bobby,
it. Yellow
Bobby,
journalism.
what's your vote? What's your vote?
Well, is this the same one that awesome guy was reporting he
No,
saw?
no,
Okay.
no. This is-
I'm
this
going to go
is the fisherman's.
sci-fi on this one.
I'm also gonna go sci-fi on this one. I don't believe it. It's bullshit. And then it got kidnapped, and the bones aren't there. I'm not into it.
Yeah. Sorry, Bree.
Sorry, Bree.
Okay, but thousands of people saw it, you guys.
Okay, and there's
And people
lots
took
of,
their own pictures.
yeah. There's lots of thousands of people, and where are all
According
those
to
pictures?
the internet,
Yeah.
according to TikTok.
I've never seen any of this on TikTok, but now I'm going to start looking.
Now you should put this on
out there.
TikTok.
You guys are just...
All right, give us the next.
Too
There's a
much.
word for you, but I just need a minute to think of it.
Is it see you next Tuesday?
Big dick.
You fucking wish. All right. The sea monster
nice.
of Teddy's Beach.
I'll go first. I'm gonna hardcore fact this because I think that their story was so compelling that I believe them. Bobby,
She's
yeah,
laughing. I don't believe her.
I completely sympathize with these people, and I'm going to fact it all day long.
yes,
Oh,
It
Tony.
might be a misidentification, but I like to think it's not.
Yeah, Tony.
Oh, it's fact all the way. That
Obviously,
clearly fact. I mean,
Those
that
guys-
riveting.
those people were not full of
Interview.
shit.
Hold on a second. Hold
It
on.
was a true story.
No. Tony, are you just saying that because it's funny, or do you really believe it? Like, you guys are really
Obviously,
playing with me
something
here.
happened to her.
Something
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, I believe
But
them.
something didn't happen when they caught a 14-foot skeleton that everyone on the land saw.
Nope.
And then
I didn't
disappeared.
see a video
because
on
I'm
the local
pretty
news
sure
about
it
that.
was just
Yeah.
like a whale skeleton, like a baby whale.
Yeah, you can.
And that's
easily-
why it
Baby
disappeared.
whale.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
didn't know shit about skeletons back then. They were like,
No.
"Oh, it's a
Yeah.
fucking mermaid." And you're like,
Right,
They're
"What?"
still using
Bree.
black and white.
Clearly a sturgeon.
It was 96. I was already
Bree,
6 years
it
old
sounds-
by
it
then.
Nah, they
sounds
didn't know
like-
shit about
It
anything.
sounds like you're gonna
nice.
sci-fi it. Are you sci-fiing this one, Bree?
I am. But it doesn't matter. I'm obviously canceled out.
They hadn't mapped the skeletons of all the
All right, give us
sea
the next
creatures in
God,
'96
of all the things.
like they have
Out
now.
of your goddamn minds. All right. There's something to really factor sci-fi him
I
other than
think I
him
just have
being
to fact.
racist.
Sci-fi.
I'm just gonna fact.
I don't.
H.P.
I
Lovecraft
am
in
a
general.
H.P. Lovecraft
Fact.
denier.
Fact
was
is
never
racist.
a real
He's a sci-fi. He's not real. He's fake. As fake as Rhode Island.
He might be
Okay.
fake, but his racism was
He's as
real.
fake as
It was
Australia.
real. Oh, sorry.
I was reading like his quotes and like his letters that he wrote. Oh my god.
Racist.
Cool.
Okay, next one.
You guys, it is so bad. He said something like Hitler, like, what a funny clown, but I love that kid. Like something like that.
No, thank
What?
you.
Okay.
1937.
I don't know why, but I also think that
So?
HP stands for Harry Pussy Lovecraft. I don't know
Wow.
why. Next, please. Next.
Okay.
Cthulhu. I'm
Hey,
gonna
All
fact
right.
Cthulhu.
Oh, I'm going
Hey,
backwards.
Mr. Lovecraft, why do you go by your first two initials? Oh, it's
He doesn't like
Harry
Howie.
Pussy.
Harry
Never
Pussy
seen
sucks.
that.
Okay. Bellacourt Castle. Brie, I'll start with you. Fact. Tony.
I'm gonna fact it.
All right, me too. Fact it.
Ooh.
Bobby.
I'll sci-fi it.
Just because.
Wow.
'Cause
But we outweigh you, so
I'm a
it's
rebel.
fact.
He's been there, so.
Yeah,
That's not
I
fair.
didn't get any feelings.
You
of
had
ghosts.
a jaded situation.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
next
I
round.
figured if the ghosts were real, the tour guide would have talked about them a little bit. But,
No, like I said, you got to know your audience.
well, this guy did not know his audience.
He didn't.
Listen, my old nail lady would tell me all about the ghosts and the hauntings that she had, not only at the nail salon, but at home. Stories are wild. One time I heard her telling this lady that was brand new. She told her like the lightest story ever. Just like, oh yeah, there's like
Yeah, the
ghosts
lady
in my
was
house.
not into
The
it.
lady was so pissed she got up and left, and then she learned you can't just be openly talking about ghosts to people, unfortunately. Yeah. So I think in this case, if you're selling, I mean, do you remember how much your tickets were?
No.
Bobby?
What?
You remember how?
I don't know, like $30.
Okay, what? Maybe. Okay, well, we're in the middle of inflation, so maybe right now it's a lot higher.
Like 50, probably.
You know, you don't want to like.
I had to tell my nail lady to stop talking about ghosts because I was like, "Look, this shit's rough."
Look, lady, I just want to sit here. You do my nails.
Yeah.
Can I just get a
God.
mani panty?
I do
and
not
fucking
need to
leave?
know how you're a human
Mani
being. Just do my nails.
panty. Manny
I love that.
Patty. Okay, whatever.
All right, Brie,
Yeah,
next.
whatever.
Next.
I clearly know what it is.
Clearly, it looks
Is
like
this like
you're
last
doing
but not least?
last but not least.
I will let Bibby go first.
Wait, hold on. Are we going to say factor sci-fi that it was real that she was a vampire?
She's a vampire, yeah.
Okay. You know what? I also want to just pay a quick attention to Luis's comment here. So, like, I only watched a couple episodes. I didn't get to finish it. Did anyone else get to watch Lovecraft Country on HBO?
Yes, it was awesome.
Did you like it?
Loved it. The
Maybe
entire
I should.
thing.
They
Maybe I
cancel
should.
all the good things.
Yep.
Why did they cancel it? Could people just not handle it or what?
One of the dudes, the guy who played his father, died in real life. Like
Actors are everywhere. Can't you just find a new one?
I mean, that's what they're going to do with Black Panther, but HBO's not Disney.
How sad.
All right, Bibby, give me your vote.
I don't think this person was a vampire. I think that there was oftentimes where creatures of lore were attributed to crazy people. And maybe we can get into a little more if we ever do like the Salem witch trials or something like that, like we were alluding to earlier. But I was reading recently, and I don't know how much this has to do with this particular instance, but it kind of proves a point. I was reading recently that like one of the theories behind things like the Salem witch trials are like attributing, subhuman creatures to another person is a lot of times, and then layering their religion on top of that as an excuse is a lot of times a way to like oust mentally ill people from the village because you can't really afford to feed them, or they're kind of a, you know what I mean? Like they're not.
Yeah, they threw them in those creepy house. That's actually going to come up next episode.
Next episode.
So I think
There's a creepy place like that, throwing all the unwanted crazy kids that they.
Some sort of like that kind of old world lens can be applied to this situation, I think. So I don't think she was an actual vampire.
No, and I'm going to agree with you. I think that this is just instead of like a mistaken case of identity, it's a mistaken case of a medical condition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm wondering, I should have done my research on this now, but I didn't think about it before. But you know how American Horror Story is always based off of an original American horror story. And the last one that I remember, where it was like half of the season, was about, even though it was in Cape Town, but it's still the same kind of vibe of like this beachy area where it's like a small town. There's not a lot of people there. And it was based off of like a vampire story.
If it's
And
based off of
I
this,
wonder
probably.
if it was kind of based off of, although I feel like they would have been in Rhode Island. And instead they were in the Cape. But I'm curious about that. But I sci-fi that she was a real vampire.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot for me to fact a vampire story. I'll just say that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
Unless
you
we're
could
talking
drink
about-
blood, but maybe
Unless we're
not.
talking about the Epstein crew, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's
All right,
a
Tony.
lot of people.
Tony, your vote.
I'm gonna say sci-fi. One, she was obviously born in Rhode Island in the late 1800s, so we know from previous examples that she's clearly racist. And
100%.
Fucking stop.
so gotta sci-fi it. Clearly not a vampire because she's not a vampire.
Yikes.
Yeah. All right, guys. Listen, we have
knows.
more.
Is that
we
it?
We have more Rhode Island to get into next Tuesday. So we'll see you
week.
guys next Tuesday. Bobby, do you have anything that's recently come out for Not For Everyone podcast?
We just dropped our episode on our 4th of July episode on Firebirds, which is a weird Top Gun knockoff with Nick Cage and Tommy Lee Jones from like 1991.
Fancy.
Sounds dope.
And then we're about to release an episode on 1981's Alligator, which was more or less,
I know, Jeanette.
I'm not going to say a Jaws ripoff, but it was definitely playing off that post-Jaws giant animal horror thing. A lot of fun. A lot of fun on that one. And then real quick, as far as movie recommendations go for the state of Rhode Island,
Yes, please.
I would like to recommend all of the films of the Fairley brothers, who are from Rhode Island, and many of their films.
Are they all
set there.
like horror films?
No,
or are
it's
they
like
just like
it's like
random?
Dumb and Dumber. There's something about Mary.
Oh,
Kingpin.
gotcha. I love that.
What's the one? Me, Myself, and Irene. That
Oh
90s.
man,
Those
90s
raunchy-
goofball
but Jim
comedy.
Carrey, love
Yeah.
him so much. He's my ride or die. I feel
All right,
like if
Tony,
I
what
met
about
him.
you? Anything on the
besties.
Bottle Water Network going on?
Still working on my project.
Okay, love it. Vibes. You'll keep us updated. Bree, what do we got? We got Roach on Thursday, right?
We got Roach on Thursday.
And then do you have
We
anything
will
for Friday this
probably
week?
release. We will probably release remote viewing part 2 on Friday.
Okay.
I'm very disappointed at the
Views on the
lack
first one.
of views on the first one, only because I believe that I've watched every single thing on YouTube about remote viewing and no one even covers like a little bit of what we did. So I'm
have to
hoping
go
that
back
more
if you
people will
haven't
catch
watched
up
it.
with the first one so that we can get into the second one. Just because we did this due diligence in the timeline, and I would hate for people to like be confused about the timeline. So we will release that on Friday. So if you guys haven't had a chance, please go watch remote viewing part 1 today.
Oh, yes.
tomorrow,
And
whatever.
then also tomorrow at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time,
Morning or night?
Night. Me and Spooky are starring in a cartoon over on the Paranormal Highway channel with Eric, the Coconut King.
Ooh,
nice.
I am, I believe, a green monster and Blackie, Kari is a black monster.
Jesus Christ. Can we wrap this up, please?
Did
know
she
what that
say? Did she?
What did you mean to say?
I was trying to say black monster and Kari, and I said it all at the same time.
Well, Jesus Christ.
I'm not. I don't think this is funny at
That's what
all.
it came out as. So that's what we get. All right, love you guys. We'll see you guys later.
I love y'all too. Don't forget to catch up. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Oh, wow.